UFC Swing Balboa, Class 2. This is Sydney.
This is Dan.
You're awesome because you're watching.
Toes.
So today in class we went back to come arounds and some kind of important notes on come arounds. Leads, definitely keep your steps smaller when you're dancing bal. It just kind of helps you conserve energy, conserve momentum, and then when you do things which require movement, they are a little bit easier.
Turns will be tighter, same goes for follows, make sure your footwork is just a little smaller.
Another important connection thing, particularly on the follows note.
You want to make sure that you are always moving forward, so that means you're not leaning away from your leads. In Lindy Hop, you give them that little bit of weight back. In this one, you don't want to be. You want to make sure that you are giving a little bit of weight forwards. That is not collapsing. That's just moving forwards a little bit.
Leads, you can have a little bit of a forward tilt as well in your body, but don't make it big because that ends up being hard on your lower back. What is important to note is have good posture, and because what you are doing is leading your follow. We discussed how just because we have told you to move backwards and forwards on the basic doesn't mean that you have to do that all the time. So I can move just backwards or just forwards, and that looks like this. Basic. Or if I want to go the other way. And that's what that looks like. So again, just because she's always moving forward into me, I always know where she is, and then I am actually leading her around, as opposed to just like, we're going this way because we were told to,
yeah. Which
is great. Back to the come around though, again, make sure that when you are doing a come around, you are stepping through your follow. What was happening is that we were having some sort of circular steps because we were trying to create that energy beforehand. Whereas actually just step through your follow and then turn with your body.
Because I am attached to my lead, I promise, not get stepped on or run over. If you step around me, this causes more of a tilt motion, and it can lead to stepped on feet. So if you just step through me, I won't get hurt.
We're going to trade places just so you can see exactly what my left foot does. So basic on top. And through. And again, it doesn't have to be huge, just enough so that you get past your follow.
All right. Next, we did toss-outs.
And that come around is basically an essential part of those toss-outs because that's how you get into and out of this move. What it looks like just from the top, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3. Just like that. So we sort of broke it down into 2 different parts, almost 3. A big part of that, if I start over here, is with the basic on top. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. Just kidding. Now we're just dancing for your pleasure. Let's try again. So I only did half of a come around there because then I knew which way I was going to be facing at the end of this. But what's important is that on the 5 leads, you start to let go with your right arm, and then that lets your follow
move away from you.
But the follow isn't going to do most of that motion. A lot of that's going to come from the lead. And it's important that you move away because you want to make sure that you have this tension in the arm. If we're just right here and we're not generating any extra tension, then you have a hard time doing the last half of this. So if we just count it out from the 5, and then we'll tap on our 7. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3.
5, 6, 7, 8. So another really important part for follows and leads is that when there's that release on the 5, you are preparing to get to that 7 tap. So you start to turn into this arm that you're connected with on your outside hands. That's your right and your left.
Leads, we're also turning into our arm because the idea is that we don't want to be really far away from each other. We want to have energy, but we still want to be in tighter because in that way, when I let go, I don't have to travel very far in order to catch up my follow in another come around.
Balboa was done, as we said, in those really tight dance floors, so you don't want to move crazy far away, you'd get kicked out.
So again, after you got your 7 tap, you're going to step on your 8 and put your weight on that foot. And then you will go step, step, wee. It's part of your come around. You'll notice that as soon as I saw my follows back, after doing the stretch,
7, 8.
I start to put my hand on her back. So then when it comes 1, 2, wee, I've got her right here. And then as we come into close again, I usually readjust.
And find that.
Find that happy spot.
Follows, you are, as pointed out in the class, turning 2 different ways. So when you do that come around, you're going clockwise, and then when you do that stretch release, you're going counterclockwise, and your lead will stop you and move you clockwise again. Yeah.
Like ninjas.
You'll
Or follow ninjas. From there, we moved from the toss-out into the lollies because they're kind of like a closed toss-out in that you don't let go on the 5 and 6, but then you still get that same stretch on it. It looks like this. 6, 7, 8, and tap step, tap step, tap step, tap step.
So, important to note, Dan is orbiting around me. I'm like a mini sun, and he is Mercury.
She's the center of my galaxy.
Woo!
Another important thing here is that, again, your leading of this move comes from your backhand. You're not doing any pumping with your left as a lead, but you are trying to maintain this point in between you two. So you get your stretch, compress, stretch, compress, stretch, compress. And this will help you get into your exit, which is kind of like the last half of a toss-out.
Wow.
It's like magic.
And that was our class.